It Ain't Over. It's a movie that celebrates the life and the Hall of Famer Yogi Berra. Here's just a little snapshot of Yogi Berra and his career and the film, which debuts at the Tribeca Film Festival next month. We're pleased to be joined in studio by the film director Sean Mullin and the granddaughter of Yogi Berra, Lindsay Berra, our good friend here at MLB Network and executive producer on the film. Thank you very much for being here.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having us.
Absolutely. I love documentaries. I love films about particularly Hall of Fame all-time great players here. As an executive producer, Lindsay, and as obviously someone that was very close to your grandfather, what are you hoping people learn from this film? Because I already feel like if baseball fans know quite a bit about your granddad.
I do think that they know quite a bit about him, and you just gave that long list of his accolades.
Yeah.
But when we sit and talk about him, when we listen to the way he's talked about now, my dad and my uncles and I and my family, we kind of feel that sometimes the Yogiisms at the end of the day transcended the fact that he was as good on the field as he was. And a lot of people just know him as this cute, funny guy with big ears and a bunch of crazy sayings.
Right.
And it gets lost in the shuffle that he was as great of a ball player that he was. And we want the documentary to make a new generation of fans realize just how good he was as a player.
Yeah, and to that end, Sean, you got in the film, you've got interviews with Bob Costas, Don Mattingly, Derek Jeter. What was it like interviewing all these luminaries of the game as part of this feature?
I mean, I'll be honest, interviewing people like that to talk about someone like Yogi was actually pretty easy. I mean, because you almost just had to sit down and say, Yogi. And they kind of went and took off. Everybody, we couldn't find anyone, this is almost a separate documentary, we couldn't find anybody to say one bad word about Yogi, which is kind of interesting. So just the love for him was so incredible. And Lindsay helped set up a lot of those interviews. And they were just really, I mean, be able to sit in Billy Crystal's backyard for 90 minutes and just talk Yogi. I mean, I could relive that day, you know, as long as
and circling back to what you said earlier about the Yogiisms and it ain't over till it's over, that as it says, it's part of our lexicon. That's part of pop culture. But, I mean, this is a Hall of Famer, played in the outfield, behind the plate. He was a manager. I mean, this is a baseball lifer that's really part of the foundation of the greatness of this game.
Yeah, I agree. And I just think, you know, that conversation about the greatest catcher of all time that we have all the time, I want to keep Grandpa in that conversation. We just saw Yadier Molina get his 1,000th RBI a week or so ago, and I click on the story, and this image comes up, and it's Yadi and Pudge Rodriguez and Johnny Bench in the photo, and they're all fantastic catchers, and arguably the case could be made as any one of them as the best catcher of all time. But Grandpa has 1,430 RBIs, the most by any catcher ever, and he wasn't in the picture of the guys with the 1,000 RBIs. So we just kind of want to keep him in that conversation.
Sean, what drew you to the film?
Oh, my, well, you know, there's so many. I'll be honest, when I was first approached to direct it, I had to take a beat. I was like, well, wait, he seems like too perfect of a person. Like, what's the story here? What's the drama? But then I started, as I did my research and as I really looked into it, I discovered that at every turn, he was overlooked. You know, as a kid, you know, his parents didn't want him to play, and his older brother stood up for him. And then, you know, people thought he was ugly and slow and small and not intelligent, which couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, the man was really a genius, but he just had a different way of expressing himself. So once I saw all of that, kind of all those pieces, I said, we've got a narrative here. We have something we can lean into with this perception versus reality. And, you know, I think society has a hard time allowing people to be both kind of funny and good. You know, if you're funny, you're like a joker. You know, you can't be good. And that was something that really resonated with me. One
element of his story that I kind of forgot about and I don't think has been highlighted greatly was his support of Jackie Robinson and Larry Doby in their journey to the big leagues and them breaking the color barriers in both, you know, Jackie did it in Major League Baseball, Larry Doby for the American League. Like I said, that seems to be an element of his story that gets lost a little bit.
Yeah, I talk about this a lot. I think all of us agree that Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier in Major League Baseball helped push the civil rights movement in this country. And just because it happened in baseball didn't mean that all baseball players were embracing of the situation. And Grandpa always went out of his way to embrace the Black and Latin players, Jackie, Elson Howard with the Yankees, Minnie Minoso, and make it known and let people see him talking to them. So he was cool with it, and hey, you should be cool with it too. I think as an Italian immigrant, he was used to hearing Dago and WAP and all these derogatory terms for Italian immigrants at that time. And he never wanted anyone else to feel less than in the way that the Black and Latin players were made to feel at that time.
Give us a little sneak preview. What is the most memorable piece of footage in the film that you discovered upon and you're like, oh man, it has to be in the film?
I can't answer because I haven't seen the final.
Yeah, she's seen almost the final cut. But, well, geez, I don't want to give too much away. I mean, there's something that happens in the third act of this film that if I were to have scripted it, it would feel made up. I guess I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
There's something like so unbelievable. It's almost like the universe said, you know what? Get off Yogi's back.
Yeah.
You know, just like, just cut him a break. So I hope, can't wait for everybody to see it.
Tell people, I mentioned it's going to premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival next month in New York City, but tell people where else they can see it, stream it, the whole thing.
So we made this film independently. Our producers, Mike and Peter Sobolov, went out and got the financing put together for this, and it will be sold, hopefully, at Tribeca. So we don't have a distributor yet. So we're looking for a distributor. Anybody wants to buy it?
Yeah.
Give us a ring.
Just call us up.
Maybe we can talk. I mean, we've got some people here, specifically Mark DeRosa, man of means. Yeah. Hey, Lindsay Berra, Sean Mullin, thank you very much for being here. The film is called It Ain't Over, celebrating the life of the great Hall of Famer Yogi Berra. Thank you very much for being here, and good luck with the film.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You got it.
Great.